Iron Maiden's 17th studio album came as somewhat of a surprise after almost 5 years of nothing since the Book of Souls, which I personally thought should have never been released. The members of Iron Maiden said they wanted to go in more of a prog direction, which I know piqued both of our interests because prog is the elite form of music.
I don't have the context of the rest of Iron Maiden's recent history. I've taken bits and pieces here and there. As I understand, this was quite a triumphant return to form compared to some of their newer stuff.
Yes, it is. The number one thing that I noticed with our unfortunately aging heroes, Bruce, he realized the writing on the wall. See what I did there? He stayed in his range perfectly. They decided to do more of a layering technique to make up for the fact that he can't belt like he used to.
He was pretty good for most of it. There were some parts here and there, especially on the big hooks and choruses, that I thought he was scraping that ceiling a little bit too much. But in general, especially coming off of tongue cancer, was quite impressive. Second half, much stronger than the first half. 95% of everything worth listening to this album is in the second half.
It's like they were warming up.
Yeah, you'd think you might want to start the album with your strongest stuff.
If it was the days where it was like A-side, B-side, you would just throw A-side out. Without any more further bovine excrement, Senjutsu.
I like how you said without any more further bovine excrement.
I had to differentiate from you.
I see.
Yeah. Kicking off the album with a pretty decently long runtime song with a strong, very heavy, musically stretched song. The layering of Bruce vocals, I thought that was a breath of fresh air. Nicko being 67, still being able to play the drums like this is a sight to behold.
Most of the song sounds like the end credits of a mythical war movie. They build you up and build you up and build you up, and then the last minute of the song comes and they build you up and they build you up, and then they keep building you up and the song ends.
Yeah, I'd say about mainly for the first 5 minutes or so, it's painfully repetitive.
It's a terrific new sound from Maiden, but this did not need to be anywhere near as long. And also, where the fuck is Steve?
Yes, I was going to get to that too. Now he does have the 3 guitar players, which is even more tough to cut through.
But last time I checked, Steve Harris was still in the lineup, so that's no excuse, sir. But I do like the general direction of the sound that they're going in. It's something new that at least I haven't heard from Maiden, maybe on some of their newer stuff, but I do like the direction they're going in. I give this one a 6.
Funny enough, I gave it a 6 also.
Steve, is that you? Way back there, Steve. They're even
there he
doing
is.
the
He's
gallop,
leaving.
and you can like
He's gone.
just hear maybe like the pickup hit the string a little bit.
This song, besides Formula, it's like a good opening for a bar gig. And what did you think about the that kind of high-pitched synth that they put in?
I thought it gave me cancer.
Yeah, I thought the idea was good, but the tone, no.
Also, like, if you're gonna have synth, have some fucking synth, not like... Every song was the same patch, and it was all.
Yep.
Rhythmically, though, I loved it. Especially Nicko's powerful, punchy kick drum.
Nicko's always able to, I think, carry the dropped weight. I give it a 5.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, so you gave it a 5, actually.
Okay, alright.
We discussed this a little bit in our Number of the Beast review. The whole record, they kind of abandoned the formula that works, and I really, really appreciate that, because even though their classic stuff is their classic stuff, it does get a little bit formulaic at times. So to see them try something like this Roadhouse feel like something out of a Dodge pickup truck commercial was a welcome sight for me. The way the 3 guitars work together, sharing the solos, picking up the rhythm, I thought was beautiful as well. And it has one of the most memorable hooks in recent Maiden history, in my opinion. One of the better ones on this album. I gave it a 7.5.
Yeah, one of the better ones, I agree. I also gave it a 7.5. Another unique intro from Bruce vocally with the effects and the delay.
He was also sounding a little inebriated.
Yeah.
Fantastic tone by Steve, great depth and heavy focus on the high end too, something you don't see a lot from bass.
And I could actually start to really hear him. It's like he forgot halfway through the album that, oh, volume's turned down. Oh, sorry about that.
Some great guitar sections in the middle, although more dialed back for the Maiden standard. And then for the next 5 minutes, we get the first minute. Softer sections, like at the end, don't really fit Bruce's style well. He needs to be in there, like, from the chest, powering through. He kind of sounds drunk when he tries to do some, like, soft shit like this.
Maybe he was trying out the Trooper beer.
One of Steve's best songs up to this point of the record, though.
I agree. He's finally turning himself up. I give it a 7.
I give it a 6.5. X-Men.
All right.
Days of Future Past. The opening riff soars, led by the incredible lead guitar tone. It's a step in the right direction with a little bit of that old school Maiden flair, but also mixed with the newer stuff that we've heard so far in this album. The synth is still atrocious, though. I give this one a 7.
I agree. I give it a 7.
Why is this song number 6?
It's the number of the beast.
Fantastic intro with a nice contrast in tone between the acoustic and the electric. And Steve, too.
Bruce finds his perfect range on this one, and Steve's single notes fit the perfect breaks with the kind of eerie guitar. The synth notes for this one actually weren't atrocious. I think they actually did help.
I would like to disagree with you, sir. Can we at least get a different fucking patch? I mean, holy shit.
Yeah, okay, I do agree with that. A different
like
patch
even
would be
just
nice.
go down an octave instead of like, you know, maybe just come down here and blend it in a little bit more. The bulk of the beginning is more of the same, but the back half provides what I was expecting given all the talk about progressiveness, awesome change-ups, heavy riffing, and interesting in detail as well.
Like I was saying earlier, it really does sound like the first couple songs were just warm-ups, and now they finally got into the prog that they were talking about.
Best on the record. Again, why did this wait till the back half of the record? I give this one an 8.
I think they were testing the true fans. I give this one a 7.5.
Really killing it with the intros here up to this point. Now we got the SpongeBob intro. Excellent synergy with the guitars to create such a mystical vibe like they do with much of the record, but here it just works so much better. The tone on one of the guitars sounds just like Pull Me Under, so you know I was liking that. I think this was actually Bruce's best performance on the record. He stays within his range, and also his style perfectly fits this kind of music.
He is understanding the circumstances, and everybody else in the band supported him through it.
Well, circumstances rush.
Oh.
They're able to dial up the energy too without having to do any crazy riffing, just by the structure and the atmosphere that they create with the guitar tones, Steve and Nicko, and obviously Bruce. 2 of the strongest on the record in a row. I give this one a 7.5.
We're receiving the things that we were promised. I give this one a 7.
Steve and the acoustic together make one of the craziest tones that I've heard so far in this record.
This song has the best intro on the entire album. The high-pitched synth that I couldn't stand finally finds a home for itself with this. Well, home.
Oh, yes. Just to make it clear, we're obviously not, like, synth haters, but instead of maybe having, like, the most high-pitched shit you've ever heard, maybe add some, like, pad layers under there. Imagine Maiden with, like, some extra atmosphere of the pads, maybe some, like, deeper strings, something like that. I think what they were thinking, though, when they're playing it live, they don't want to hire a keyboard player because he's not, like, an official member of Maiden. Probably want something that they could just have like a simple, you know, play this track and then we could just play along to it. But honestly, for most of them, just take it out. It doesn't need to be there.
I agree.
Be like at least a half point extra on all these songs.
Unique and somewhat elegant start with Nicko secretly creeping in for the 2-minute instrumental intro. Some of the best I've heard from Maiden in a really long time in terms of long epics and just the overall complexity of a song.
But the song also captures one of the central problems I have with this album. If you heard the first minute, you've heard like the next 5, and then the back half kicks ass.
That is really true. They do kind of get into the formula. It's like unique, formula, unique, end. The middle and end instrumental breaks are like a kiss from God, a breath of fresh air. Like you finally reach this point. It's like bliss. It's been years since you've had Maiden like this. And well, that's when the comments like, oh, Book of Souls is so good, and there's this part, and there's that. No, you're wrong.
This is your favorite on the album?
This is my favorite. Yeah. I give this one an 8.5.
I give it a 7.
It has a really creepy build-up intro. Near the end, it kind of had the powerslave vibes. It's a 12-minute song of, I think, excellence near the end. The build-up really does explode in your face.
I thought it was good. I just felt that you could pretty much say the exact same thing that I said about Death of the Celts for the first 5 minutes. It's like, why am I still here? And then the back half, fantastic.
No,
but again,
I agree.
Why couldn't we have the back half? Even if we just had the back half, it'd still be like a 6-minute song.
I agree. One of my main takeaways is this song didn't need to be 12 minutes long. 7.
Give it a 7 as well.
Steve Harris.
Yes.
Finally.
Yes.
It took 10 songs, but here he is.
That's literally what I said. They really made us wait this long for a Steve Harris bass intro.
Yes.
And then the lack of a Steve Harris bass intro, I think they figured they'd make it up by looping that same intro for 12 hours.
That's fair.
The payoff is absolutely worth it, though, with the abrupt start into the classic Maiden sound. The vocal melody on the first verse from Bruce was one of the best on the album, other than maybe Writing on the Wall. Out of all the songs in the album, it was fitting to see them finish the record with a track that really pays tribute to their classic sound. I actually got powerslave vibes from this one.
Once again, did not need to be 11 goddamn minutes long. 6.5.
7.5. Overall, it's much better than their recent stuff. Again, I have yet to listen to a modern Maiden album front to back, but I have sampled things here and there are several songs on this album that I thought were much stronger than every single one that I've heard.
From Book of Souls, night and day difference. The one thing I do add is, sadly, it is very clear, though, that age is catching up to these amazing members and idols. Certain parts of the song where they tried to shine through with their trademark, like high energy, it feels tamed. It feels like they can't really go as hard, or maybe they just don't want to. Like a little lackluster. But for guys all in their 60s with zero incentive to make music other than the fact that they just love to make music and they love their fans, utmost respect for them. Whoever in the group that was in the meeting and said, hey guys, I found this really cool note, let's just like put it in every song. They just need to sit them down and be like, hey man, like, you can no longer contribute. Watch, it was Steve.
I think it was Steve because he does have keyboard credits on a couple of their albums, so I'm thinking he may have just shat all over your hero there. I feel like this might be an album that we'll look back on in 10 or 15 years and think that this was much better than we originally think right now. I still think it was a pretty good album right now, though. I give it a 7.
I think for what the circumstances are around Iron Maiden...
Well, Rush.
Yes, it is still a good piece of work from them, so I give it a 7 as well.